Hello, everybody, and welcome to The Conversationalist. I'm Andy Del Collins, Head of Community Operations, and we are so excited to welcome you back for another night honoring incredible Gen Zers using their voices for good. And tonight we're going to be celebrating our list honorees for media and journalism. If this is your first time with us, allow us to introduce ourselves. We are The Conversationalist, and we're on a journey to unify the world one Gen Z voice at a time. We're so excited you joined us tonight. And if you like what you see, we invite you to join our online community by texting UNIFY to 1-877-222-1119. I'm seeing so many great people in the chat. Hi, Shivanshi. Hi, Basha. Hi, Taylor. Hi, Sophie. We're so excited that you're here. And if you are here tonight, make sure you say hi and join in on the conversation. So we're going to do things a little bit differently tonight. We're going to start by honoring our Gen Zers. So without further ado, let's meet these awesome honorees that we have for you tonight. So let's bring on our first honoree. Our first honoree is joining us all the way from Mumbai, India. She is a student and graphic UX and motion designer. Her interest in design was sparked when she realized the power of creating something that could grab someone's attention and generate a feeling of excitement with another individual. She has a passion for technology and interactive experiences. Through her love for creating brands, digital and motion design, she uses her skills to bring strong messages to the spotlight. She's worked with multiple NGOs in India and the US and has been able to find ways to spread messages through designs that benefit society. Welcome to the stage, Dhruvi Gupta. Hi, Dhruvi.
Hi, Andy. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm great.
Amazing. How are things in India? I know it's super early for you, so I really appreciate you tuning in all the way from over there. What time is it?
It's actually 6:37 a.m.
Well, thank you for getting up so early. I really appreciate it.
No,
We are so grateful to honor you on our platform. And I just want to know, how have you been able to use your voice for good through your medium as a designer? And, if you want to share with us, what is one of your favorite pieces you've created?
yeah, I think I've been fortunate enough, I would say, to have the opportunity to work with such amazing nonprofit organizations. And I think in the past 8 years that I've been practicing design, it's not just the United States, it's, as you said, also back home in India. And I believe a designer's work is to grab attention, and the work that we make speaks not only for us, but also the cause that we support and the people behind the organization. So it's extremely important to lift and the voices effectively and appropriately. And I think the key is to choose to work on the things that really resonate with you. I can talk about a project. So in summer 2020, I had the opportunity to work with the Institute of Immigrant Concerns, and I was designing a website for them along with 4 amazingly talented teammates in New York. And I think the ISC is an organization that teaches English to new immigrants and, helps them get more comfortable and familiar with the new culture. So I think I was able to do complete justice to the project was because when I came to the United States, I felt the same. I was from India, an outsider, went through the same process. So I think it was that what made me do really well in the project. And that's one of the things that I really liked. That project was really nice.
That's so awesome. Thank you so much for sharing that with us. And I'm so excited to hear more from you in a little bit. So we're going to take you backstage and we will talk with you again at the end.
Awesome. Thank you.
All right. So mixing things up on everybody again, now we're going to actually bring onto the stage one of our 2 celebrity honorees. So that's right. We have not 1, but 2 celebrity honorees because we're honoring media and journalism. So our first honoree is a Dominican actress who you may know from Party of 5, Mayans MC, and more. She's an aspiring advocate for positive change and has done an exceptional job in giving voice to immigrants, not only in her personal life, but also through the media and on television. She's a role model for so many young people around the world, and she's always using her voice for good. So I'm so excited to introduce Emily Tosta, our celebrity honoree for media. I'm gonna bring her up in just 1 second. Hi, Emily.
Hi, can you see me? Wait, I'm trying to turn on my camera. Hold on. Hi, how are you? I'm so happy to be here.
I know, we're so excited. Give you a second to turn your camera on, and then we can go ahead and dive in.
Oh, why isn't it working?
Oh, I'm not sure.
Can you still can't see me?
No.
Hold on a second. I just had to download a new browser because it wasn't working with Safari. So I'm wondering why.
No worries. There we go.
Hello. How are you?
I'm doing so well. Thank you so much for being with us, Emily. You know, we are just so inspired by the work that you've done in media and how you've used your voice for good. And I'm just excited to chat with you a little bit. So
I'm excited.
Awesome. Let's go ahead and dive in. On and off screen, you've successfully used your platform to educate and inspire others to act on their passions and advocate for positive change. How were you inspired to use your platform to advocate for immigrants?
So I think for me, it's a very personal topic because I moved to this country when I was only 12 years old, and I came here with my mother, and we didn't know the language. We didn't have any legal status to work. So I think for me, as soon as I started sort of pursuing my dreams and being able to have a platform and an audience, it was really important to tell my story because it was always very key to me to be able to tell others that if I was able to make it, like my little 12-year-old Dominican self that came to this country with absolutely nothing, I want to encourage others that they can do it as well. So I think that's why it was very important to me to sort of just take my own personal story and hopefully it can inspire others.
That's so beautiful. I mean, what a way to make an impact on people who've gone through a similar experience as you by using your platform to kind of share that and make them not feel alone and kind of help them guide their way through it. That's amazing. What has been rewarding in your advocacy work through your personal life and professional career, and how do you hope to impact the younger generation?
I would say that I have been able to have the blessing of working in a lot of very meaningful projects. I just did a show, Party of Five, for Freeform, and it was about immigration and deportation, and my parents on the show got deported. So I've been very blessed to work on a good amount of projects that have meaning to them. So I think just to be able to continue to do that, I've always been a big fan of scripts that actually have meaning to them, or we're talking about things that matter, because I think that's what we should do with media overall, not just with acting and TV and film, but with media overall. I think it's very important to be able to use our platforms and use our resources to be able to tell those stories that need to be told, especially when it comes to inclusion and representation, which is what we need a lot more of in our industry. So I would say that through my work, I would like to inspire others and to tell stories that will reach people's hearts and to just continue to be a part of this industry and make a positive change in whichever way that I can.
That's amazing. And once again, I just love that you've been able to find stories that you connect with and really like feel like you're a part of it. Like you understand that journey and you can share it with others. So thank you, for seeking out those roles and really like aiming to inspire. So Emily, what advice can you share for Gen Z who are looking to support celebrities like yourself who are using their platforms for good, or, who are looking themselves to speak out about what they're passionate about?
I think one of the biggest things is to educate yourselves. I think for me, that was something very important because obviously you don't want to speak about something that you're not knowledgeable about. So I think always constantly researching. I mean, we have social media that is huge right now, and we're able to talk to others and we're able to educate ourselves and we're able to read, and it's like news fly like this nowadays. So there's a lot of resources that we have in our generation that maybe other generations didn't have before. So I think just taking advantage of those tools, and at the same time just be in contact with other people that have the same mindset as you. I am constantly reaching out to activists. I actually just hosted a live on my Instagram with a wonderful climate activist. Her name is Jamie, and it was amazing and super educational. And I think just being able to just keep yourself constantly in communication with other people that believe in what you believe in and that are also aligned with your morals and your values and the things that you want to stand up for, and to just use your voices, because at the end of the day, that's all we have. And don't be afraid to speak up for what you believe in, because just like you, there's going to be other people that also align with what you believe in. So yeah, just keep yourself positive and surround yourself with other positive people as well.
That's such good advice. I hope everybody out there is taking notes. We obviously believe in using your voice for good here at the Conversationalist, and I just love, hearing other people who resonate with that mission as well. So, last question for you, Emily. How do you think we can utilize the media to help us really come together, unify, and take action towards a better future?
I think being able to also sort of what I said before of being able to use our voices, because we all have a lot of power in our voices, especially in numbers. There's a lot of power in number. And when it comes to whether it's a newspaper, a magazine, a TV show, a film, like that's a big group of people. And as long as we're all in tune with spreading a positive message, we're going to reach the masses. And I think that's very important, because especially now younger people, like there's all these influencers on Instagram that I think they should be more encouraged to use their platform for good, and YouTubers and actresses and just everybody in our industry. I think as long as we all align with a positive message, we can definitely encourage younger generations to do the same.
Absolutely. It all comes down to using your voice with whatever platform you have. So if you have a social media platform, like, use it for good. I'm totally with you on that.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Thank you so much for being with us tonight, Emily. We're just so thrilled to have you as a part of our mission, and we're just endlessly inspired by the work that you're doing. So thank you, and we can't wait to follow along and see what you do next.
Yay, I'm super honored. Thank you so much. And thank you for using this platform to spread a positive message, and for everything that you guys do as well. I'm blessed to be here. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Emily. Bye. Wow. What an amazing person. Well, now we're going to jump back into our Gen Zers, really mixing it up for you guys tonight. So we're going to bring on our next honoree. Our next honoree is a Harvard student, YouTube content creator, and activist. She uses her voice to bring attention to the issues that truly matter to her. She is an absorber. When chatting with another person, she'd rather learn about their story and what makes them who they are. With her YouTube channel, she has organized merchandise fundraisers for climate change NGOs, held conversation with women of color doctors, and pursued partnerships that emphasize self-empowerment through better mental wellness. We are so honored to welcome Christine Lee. Hi, Christine.
Hello. Hi.
Hi, welcome. We're so excited you're here.
So excited to be here. Thank you.
Awesome. So, Christine, you're a college student, content creator, and activist. What do you not do? Through your incredible work bringing awareness to issues that matter to you, how do you hope to diversify YouTube and shift the focus to inspire others to better our world?
Right. So I think much like Emily was saying, there's so much power in your own voice and your own story. And so I think with my own background, I'm a low-income student. I am a woman of color. I'm a daughter of Korean immigrants. I think there's a lot of power in just being able to share my story and being able to show that I am representative of, students in higher education that are really wanting to better the world in whatever way that they can. So that's why I'm really passionate about, as a student, hoping to go to medical someday, trying to figure out ways to use medicine to uplift issues related to social justice, racial justice, injustices within the healthcare system in our country. I think a lot of those things that are related to just my personal story and my own personal ambitions, that's really what I find a lot of power in, and what I think really drives who I am on my social media platforms.
That's amazing. And I love how you've taken what you've created with your social media and really turned it into a way to use your voice and really advocate for the things that matter to you. So thank you so much for sharing that with us. I'm going to take you backstage again, but we will talk to you again soon.
Thank you so much.
So, wow, these Gen Zers are just incredible, and I'm so excited to introduce you to our next one. So let's bring her on. So our next honoree has truly been using her voice to make a big impact since day one. Home birthed in an NYC apartment, never having eaten a meal in her life, and singing Somewhere Over the Rainbow in her mother's womb, she trademarked impact artist with the intention of being just that. She is a singer, voiceover, and on-camera actress, producer, entrepreneur, and young changemaker whose passion and purpose is to leverage entertainment as a vehicle for activism and impact. Live chat, let's show some love to Jade Zara. Hi, Jade. What an entrance. How are you tonight? Oh, I think you're on mute.
I said, hi.
Jade, we're so excited to have you here and so inspired by your platform.
Oh my gosh, I'm so grateful to be here. I love people who are passionate about making change, and if I can have more conversations about it, then what a blessing. So thank you for having me.
Amazing. Well, just from your bio, I feel like you're just truly one of a kind in the best way possible. How has your upbringing inspired your advocacy efforts, and what do you hope to achieve, with Entertainment for Change?
Whew, two meaningful questions. It was funny because in the bio, and truly no worries, because hence my I do human. You said never having eaten a meal in your life, and I was like, oh no, poor Jade. I've never had. What'd you say?
I said, nope, you're right. That says meat. I'm so sorry.
Oh, don't apologize. I just wanted to clarify to the folks out there that I have eaten a lot of food. Like, I love food, but I've never had meat in my life. So in reference to your question, my upbringing has been everything to me. I was raised home birthed. I was raised very spiritually and environmentally conscious, which I'm incredibly grateful for. My mom has been in sustainable fashion since the 90s, and my dad has the biggest heart. And I just feel like the pillars of the possibilities that you can create from, like, one of the quotes that my mom always said to me growing up was, vision is the art of seeing things invisible. So I was just always aware of the fact that if you can see it in your mind and you take small steps and you allow patience to do the work, then anything is possible. And with Entertainment for Change, I really, I believe in the power of art. Another one of my favorite quotes is, art is not a mirror to reflect reality, but a hammer with which to shape it. So for me, I was just always, as an artist myself, and Entertainment for Change has coined the term impact artist with the intention to allow that to be an easily identifiable identity. And so for people to recognize that they have the power to make an impact on themselves, the planet, one friend of theirs, or a collective, just by creation and expression is the mission of Entertainment for Change.
That's incredible. And I'm also wowed by the beautiful quotes you shared with us. I was writing those down, like definitely saving those, putting them on my wall. You are such an inspiring person. Thank you for bringing your light to the world. And we will talk to you again soon.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you, Jade. All right. Wow. Well, let's meet our next honoree. Our next honoree uses his voice as the founder of Gravity magazine. He describes Gen Z as a force. This summer, current events inspired him to use his voice in writing, a process that brings him peace. He wanted to grant a sense of peace and clarity to other Black people in his community and beyond. Gravity began as an outlet for creators of color to explore their artistic bounds, but evolved into a safe space for those who were often discriminated against to tell their own important, unfiltered narratives to the world. Welcome to the stage, Julian Crosby. Hi, Julian, welcome.
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for being here with us tonight. We feel so lucky to honor you and all of your amazing work and really elevate Gravity Magazine in all of its glory. So tell us, Julian, what do you feel we need to hear and see more of in journalism and media?
Yeah, I mean, well, first of all, thank you for that introduction. I don't think I've ever heard myself talked about in such flattering terms. Thank you. I believe that there's enormous power rooted in the perspective and opinions of marginalized communities. And I think that's definitely what we need to see and hear more in journalism. Communities often underserved based on, religion, sexuality, ethnicity, whatever it may be, experience such a myriad of different things in America that they can offer diverse perspectives that others can't. And I think that's something that we should start to appreciate and cultivate in our society. But not only do we need to expand a diverse array of viewpoints in our current age, but we need to do so with grace. And I say that because we can expand what it means to be Black in America, but we need to make sure we aren't doing so by almost making my Black experience a single story marred by trauma and pain. I mean, quite frankly, one look at Netflix's Black Lives Matter collection that they put this summer as a racial justice kind of move shows that the entertainment industry is oversaturated in Black trauma. I mean, there's just not enough focus on our peace and our joy and our just happiness. And so I think that's what I'd like to see more in journalism, not just putting different voices out there, but treating it with a little bit of tenderness. It's important to focus on time periods that fortified us as a community, but in doing so, we have to make sure that we don't make it the cumulative sum of all of our experience here. We're more than just our anguish. We're more than our trauma. And I think that extends beyond the Black community into the LGBTQ community and to communities of religious minorities. We're more than just those bad stories you hear about us, right? We're more than just our pain. And I think we need to focus a little bit about uplifting each other and perpetuating peace.
Wow. I'm speechless. I don't even know what to say to that. That's such it's just such an important message and definitely something that we don't talk about enough. So thank you so much for shedding light on that, Julian, and just everything you're doing to share these more joyous stories about, the Black experience, because I think we all need to hear them. So
Exactly.
We appreciate everything you're doing.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
All right. I will talk to you soon, okay?
All right. Bye. Thank you.
Wow. I just got chills hearing Julian talk, and I'm just excited to talk to our next honoree. So our next honoree is a student and journalist. She believes that you shouldn't limit your activism to social media and wants people to get out and do the work. She founded and administers Nasty Feminism, a political Instagram account that aims to highlight marginalized voices and issues. She has written for a variety of publications, mostly focusing on political issues and social justice. At only 17 years old, she is truly using her voice for good. Welcome, Nora Fellows. Hi, Nora.
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so much for being with us tonight. Awesome. So Nora, you amplify voices and spotlight issues through your publication, Nasty Feminism. What inspired you to create this movement?
That's a great question. So I started my account, I'm actually 18 now. I might have mistyped or something, but I started my account when I was 15 years old, and it was after the 2016 election. I think like a lot of people, I was feeling very frustrated. And I grew up in a really small town of just 8,000 people. And in my town, there just wasn't like a lot of political, opinions being raised that much among people my age. And I felt like I was really looking for a community of people who I could, share my frustrations with and also try to organize with. And so, I was too young to vote. I was 15. So I took to social media because, anybody can start an Instagram account, obviously. And I just found this really powerful community of people who, had similar opinions to me and who have pushed me to explore things I wouldn't have otherwise found out about. It's a global community. So I found out about so many issues that aren't just limited to the United States. And it's just been so amazing to, work with other social media political influencers and to get to, hear opinions from so many different people and to really get outside of like my local bubble. So that's why I started it.
That is incredible. And follow-up question, who is inspiring you within the journalism and media space? And like, what are some other outlets that are impacting the work that you're doing? Yeah, so, I think the great thing about social media is that really anybody can have a voice. And so on my account, I try to share, as many voices as possible because, there are some issues that obviously I can talk about, like, the struggles of being like a girl in school or something, but there's other issues that people from different communities can touch on more. And so I really love accounts like the Unplugged Collective, which is actually was started by a girl I went to high school with, but it's an Instagram account and magazine that tries to focus on like centering the body positivity movement around Black issues. And so that's a really great resource. And then also Miscalculation is another one I really like, which is, it's a magazine and Instagram account that centers around Asian issues and immigration. So those are some of my favorites, but there are really so many great resources out there. That's amazing. And I love that you found ways to collaborate with other platforms and really create that intersectionality that, because there's so many issues out there. And I love that you're finding creative ways to address all of them in your own way. So thank you for the work that you're doing. And we will talk to you soon.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Wow. All right. Well, let's meet our next honoree. So I'm super excited to welcome the 16-year-old founder of Generations, an organization that TC loves partnering with. Her mother, brother, and best friend are her biggest inspirations. She's a first-gen Filipina that strives to make change in today's world. She founded Generations in April 2020 and holds so much leadership within her school and community. She is passionate about writing, politics, film, STEM, and fashion, and is heavily involved in the activist space. Welcome, Sophia Del Rosario.
Hi, everyone.
Hi, Sophia. How are you?
Hi, Andy. How are you? You look good.
Welcome back. We're always so happy to have you here at TC.
Yes. You guys know how much I love you guys all at the Conversationalist. I'm so glad to be back.
So, Sophia, like the Conversationalist, Generations works to bring young people together through top-of-mind conversations and incredibly eye-catching content. What do you hope to achieve within your organization this year?
Right. So, of course, we all know last year, 2020, has been so chaotic. But the things that I've learned, built, and experienced, it's really been so life-changing, and I really don't plan to stop. Our entrance into the new year, 2021, with the inauguration, with everything that's been going on, it's acted as sort of a restart for me. It allowed me to gain kind of like a new outlook, a new perspective of the path I want to follow here with Generations. And what I hope to achieve in terms of our journalistic content is to get some more interviews, to sit down with more accomplished Gen Z teens from all sort of sides of the spectrum, and to highlight their perspectives and their experiences, and also to hopefully officially establish our organization as a nonprofit media group that shares digestible content with our audience, and to take on more fundraiser activism projects, in which we have several fundraising projects in the works at the moment to donate to causes and initiatives internationally. I'd love to start up a podcast to develop some more audio-based content here at Generations, because you guys know how Clubhouse and all of these different podcasts have been like popping off lately. Of course, to expand our team, to meet some more talented Gen Zers, and to continue uplifting their creative work, such as their poetry and their art. We also want to introduce a new series of virtual events hosted by older people in certain fields and industries who inspire them to embark along their career path to, really empower these Gen Zers as the leaders of the future, as politicians, doctors, people in the arts, things like that. And of course, to continue to have these generations, showcase our passions for social issues and things like that. Also, I hope that generations can pull off our first successful conference for the Women of Color Conference, which is coming in March 20 to 21st, which we are hosting with Diversify Our Narrative, Dear Asian Youth, and AfroPuff Chronicles, in which their founder Tyler here is also here being honored tonight and has been brilliantly helping us and has been leading the conference. And we just really hope that through this conference, we help young women of color gain advice from panelists that have experience in a field that they want to pursue, inspiring them to be empowered as young women of color and to reach for the stars and achieve their dreams and all that. It's definitely something that I would love to have had when I was younger. So I'm super excited for what this year is going to bring us.
Wow. Sophia, I truly don't know how you do it all because you're also in school. So
no, yeah, I was also thinking, I was like, oh, after this, I have to go study for my physics quiz. I have to go do my homework. But yeah, it's I always tell myself, I'll rest this summer after senior year, and it's just lots of coffee, only sleeping on the weekends. It's all been really crazy, but things like this, being able to really share my experiences and speak and alongside other accomplished NCers, that's really something that I really appreciate, kind of little break from everything else that's been going on. So yeah.
Well, you're incredible, and we love partnering with you. Thank you so much for everything you're doing, and I will talk to you again soon. Wow, these Gen Zers are just, they're blowing my mind tonight. So let's meet the next one. All right, our next honoree is a freshman at Stanford University and the founder of AfroPuff Chronicles. She is a lover of storytelling and is a believer in the medium's power to create political and social change. She is inspired by Lewis Howes, a former football player and the founder of the School of Greatness podcast. She founded AfroPuff Chronicles in 2018 and has since evolved into a space for women of color from around the world to share their stories through art and writing. Welcome, Tyler Newman. Hi, Tyler.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for being here with us tonight. And I feel like Sophia gave you a nice little lead-in by introducing your conference. We just think it's so amazing how you've combined your love for art and writing with activism and unification. How did the events of 2020 inform your journalistic efforts over the last year?
That's a great question. So I'd say that 2020 was a very pivotal year for my journalism career. So AfroPuff Chronicles has been an ongoing project of mine since 2018, and however, in 2020, a unique opportunity really arose. Following the death of George Floyd and the resurgence of the Black Lives Matter movement, I saw the huge desire for educational resources for people seeking to learn, unlearn, and expand their perceptions during this unprecedented time of social justice discussions in our nation and also in the world. APC is not a traditional news platform like that of the New York Times or the Washington Post, but instead it's a place for people to explore current events through the lens of BIPOC individuals, and also those that are traditionally underrepresented in media. In 2020, I really believe that my journalism perception changed as I discovered that news could come in so many different types and forms, and it could be straight facts, such as what other journalism institutions do, or also doing what APC does, which is sharing the world through the eyes of Black and Brown girls. So I don't believe the latter form can be consumed entirely on its own to get a full picture of what's going on. However, I believe it's a powerful tool to allow people to feel heard and also feel represented in our national conversations, as well as allowing people of different backgrounds to insert themselves into the shoes of people of other cultures, religions, races, and backgrounds, and take the first step towards understanding what the life of someone else is like.
That's beautiful. Thank you so much for, giving people a place to share their story and really, elevating these voices and lifting them up, because there's not enough people out there doing it. And we're just so grateful that you are one of the people who are helping with that mission. So thank you so much, Tyler, and we will talk with you again soon.
Thank you so much.
All right. So our next honoree, or really our last honoree for tonight, is a content creator from New York and a past gender equity panelist. They're a professional writer and digital marketer and are passionate about sharing education and motivation about the LGBTQ+ and mental health communities. Their goal is to inspire others to be their fullest, most authentic selves. They believe that this is just the start of their journey. There is a bright future ahead of them, and they can't wait to see what it looks like, and neither can we. Welcome to the stage, Zoe Staller. Hi, Zoe.
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing so well. Thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here.
Zoe, you're always such a bright light of positive energy. We're just so happy to have you here today and honor you. So,
thank you.
You've done so much work. Like, what are some of your proudest accomplishments having used journalism and media as a means to support and amplify the LGBT+ community?
Yeah, it's a great question. Honestly, I think my proudest moments are when people DM me or comment or reach out to me, letting me know that my content helped them in some way, either help them figure out their identities or help them come out. Because about a year ago, I was in their boat where I was really struggling to figure myself out, particularly my gender identity. And I'd found a bunch of LGBTQ creators online who I really looked up to, and I always, wrote to them and let them know how much, they I guess taught me and changed my lives. And when I started creating my own content, I knew that I wanted to be that kind of person who I had looked up to and been helped by so much. And I didn't know whether I would achieve it. I knew I would try my best. But when I hear that people are actually helped by the things that I'm making and that I'm achieving that goal, that's what makes me the proudest.
I mean, I can't imagine. Like, that must be so fulfilling for you, especially being somebody who was once in their shoes, being able to help amplify like their story and just make them feel better about what they're going through. Like, everybody needs that mentor to look up to. And it's just so nice that, the world has you. So thank you, Zoe, for everything you do.
Thank you so much.
Awesome. Well, I'm going to bring everybody to the stage now for one final conversation. So let's welcome all of our panelists back. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the stage. Awesome. All right, everyone. We're gonna talk about one last thing before we introduce our last celebrity honoree. So I'm going to ask you all a question. I want everybody to answer this. So our mission at the Conversationalist is to unify the world. How do you think we can come together and unify to not only advocate for the importance of productive journalism and media efforts, but to also unify at large when it comes to finding common ground? And how can we come together and start more of these important conversations? Whoever wants to kick us off, feel free to do so, and the rest of you can just tell me who wants to go in the chat. All right, Julian, why don't you kick us off?
Yeah, one thing that I think that if humans as in our society pay attention to more could help us unify is not looking through people, but actually seeing them. I know a lot of times people like to dismiss the issues at hand because it makes us uncomfortable. So we have those topics and those conversations where it's, I don't see color, or everyone's the same to me. And I think those kind of rebuttals dismiss the actual problem at hand. I think once we actually start evaluating and understanding who people are for themselves and appreciating the differences that make us who we are, rather than trying to assimilate to like one type of individual, I think that'll do a lot to unify us. I think there's too many people trying to become a singular version of themselves or what they think they're expected to be. And we need to just start to appreciate the weirdness, right? We need to appreciate just being totally weird and just awkward and just offering something else to the world that's a little bit different.
Julian, you are always speaking so much truth. Thank you so much for that. Christine, do you want to go next?
Yeah, I mean, everything that Julian said was just absolutely spot on. I think unification can't really come without, diversity. And I think a big part of that is making sure that voices that are unheard, that are silenced, are amplified by those who do have those platforms. I think, for example, medicine is sometimes viewed as this scary, faceless institution, when really it can be a huge vehicle for driving change and bringing about true racial justice. And I think something that's really important with that is making sure that we hear from the doctors and the nurses and the workers, healthcare workers that are working in those fields at the intersection of like medicine and social justice. So that's just one example, but I think that kind of unification really can't come without making sure that everyone whose voices deserve to be amplified are amplified.
So true. Nora, what do you think?
Yeah, so of course I totally agree with what Julian and Christine have said. And I think that what we have to remember is that journalism and media are at heart about storytelling. And, everyone's been talking about, hearing everybody's stories and how important education is and awareness. And that does really come from journalism and media. And so I think it's really important to remember that. And I think, one of the biggest attacks that journalism especially faces is this sort of fake news attack. And I think that type of rhetoric leads to a lot of disunity because people stay in their echo chambers and, they just decide that, the other side or a source that they don't like is fake news or whatever. But I think it's really important that, we in good faith listen to people who have different life experiences and different perspectives from us.
So true. We talk about the concept of echo chambers a lot here at TC and how it's so important to go outside of that and understand, other people's opinions and perspectives, even if they're different than yours, because I don't know how we come together if we're not hearing the other perspectives that are out there. Awesome. What about you, Sophia?
Sorry. Yeah. First of all, this is a great group. So excited to be speaking alongside everyone here. I believe that always highlighting both sides of the story in order to relate stories that are both authentic and also informative is really important. And of course, here at Generations, there is always room for us to improve in terms of showing both sides of the story, through our political content, which is something that we will be committed to doing more throughout 2021. I also believe that coming together and starting these important conversations, especially when on the topic or on the mission of unifying, that must come from an honest and patient place where both people or all parties are comfortable and have an open mindset when entering this conversation, as opposed to maybe if one person has emotional, mental, or other forms of past trauma, like trauma from racism in their childhood or discrimination before, that may be unpacked when entering this conversation, this can cause more harm than good. And I feel that, like everybody here before has said, making sure that we absolutely diversify and that we really get to some of the roots of the problems right now that we're facing, systemic issues. I feel like this is a real way that we can make real progress on the mission of unity and, also for journalism and media, publishing opinion pieces and sharing perspectives and experiences from all sides of the spectrum may help this push to unify the world, which is the incredible mission here at the Conversationalist. And you guys are absolutely killing your purpose here. And, I'm just so grateful to be honored here and to be speaking alongside of you.
Amazing. Sophia, we are always grateful to have you on. Zoe, what do you think?
I think that it's really important that if you're passionate about a topic, that you go out and you find that community surrounding that topic. You find like-minded individuals who can support your passions and also people who can challenge your beliefs and help you grow more. And especially right now, this is mostly done online, of course, because we can't really be physical together. But there are so many, social media accounts and communities that can really, fit any passions and interests that you have. So I say go out there and join those conversations.
Amazing. Bruvi, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think, today we're living in a world where everyone has something to say, and we have the biggest blessing, which is social media, we can talk to a million people just from our palms. And I think to really understand what needs to be given out like that, what needs to be broadcasted in front of the world. We're Gen Z, so we need to think about the future. We're thinking about how our generation can really build things for the next generation, or, how can we make the world better for others? So I think climate change is really important. And I think, as journalism and media really thinks, talks about awareness and, helps people give a message out. Climate change is something that can unify people and also be used in a very good way. I think that's one thing that we should all think about and talk about and, use our powers for.
I love that. The future affects us all. So it's definitely something we can come together and try to figure out so that, we have a long future. I love that. Thank you, Bruby. Jade, what do you think?
There we go. I was like, I got this, and then I pressed the wrong button. Julian, I love what you said about getting weird. I'm like, just, it's like, if we can, and seeing each other, hearing each other, we're humans, we're on this planet together, like, period, end of story, so it's kind of like, my advice in terms of media and journalism specifically would be to think outside the box. And then, as Zoe said, that passion, I looked up the definition of passion this morning, and it was like an emotion that you can't control, which I feel all the time. But I think just like expressing, providing safe spaces for everyone to really hear and see each other, experiencing each other, observing each other, and taking in each other, and being present to that is like the juicy part of life anyway. So why would you not want to do that? And to play, like, co-creation should be something that's fun. Co-creating a better world, unfortunately, has such an association to overwhelm and scary, and that's so valid and so relevant to speak to. And also, can we co-create in like a playful, fun, exciting way that we have the power to co-create a different kind of reality for ourselves?
Wow. I love the emphasis on joy and playing that so many of you have brought tonight, because I think, when we talk about activism and things like that, that's not always at the front of everybody's mind. But I feel like when you're passionate about what you do, it should be fun. And I just love that that's something we're talking about. Tyler, why don't you bring us home?
I love this question. I think that one of the most important steps for unification is really listening. I think sometimes we have so many things to say that sometimes we don't take a step back and kind of listen to what the other side has to say. So I think the biggest step is just kind of decentering ourselves from the conversation and trying to give someone else a chance to kind of share their perspective. And we never know, we might learn something new in that setting.
I love that. Listening is just as important part of a conversation as speaking. Like, it's not a conversation if we're not actually listening to one another and really hearing what one another has to say. So thank you for sharing that. You all are so incredible, and we're just so excited to have been able to honor you tonight. Thank you for all of the work that you're doing, and we just, we hope this isn't the end. We definitely want to continue working and amplifying all of the beautiful things that you're doing. So this is it for tonight, but if anybody here, listening tonight is interested in talking more with any of these incredible humans, you can find them in Geneva. Come say hi and hear more of their stories. But that'll be it for tonight. So thank you all so much. I'm going to put you all backstage, and I will talk to you soon. Bye, everyone. Wow, what an incredible group of people. I'm so sad to see them go. The good news is, and no pun intended, we're not done yet. Before we wrap up tonight, we have one more conversation to have with our second celebrity honoree. He is a storyteller who focuses on the good in the world through hosting the Sounds Good podcast. He amplifies good news on the Goodnewspaper with the good, and he works to amplify positive change makers through an online community of more than 250,000 world changers. I'm so excited to introduce our celebrity honoree for journalism, Branden Harvey. Hi, Branden, welcome. I think you're on mute.
That's so embarrassing. But hey, I'm so happy to be here.
We're so excited to have you, and like, no worries. It's the motto of 2020. I think.
Truly, we're in 2021. I should be over it, but we'll get there.
No, I think that's going to be around as long as we're on Zoom. So you're good. Oh, Branden, we're so excited to have you, and we just love the way that you break through all of the negative news by running the go-to publication to highlight the good things that good people are doing in the world. What inspired you to do this and really normalize good news through journalism?
You know, it's a few things. One, I had the incredible honor of getting to travel the world as a humanitarian photographer, getting to document a lot of heartbreak and pain in the world. But no matter what heartbreak and pain I saw, there were always people who were making a difference. There were always people creating solutions to problems. And I would come home from these trips and I'd be telling my friends all about these incredible world changers who I met all over the world. And I would just feel like sad that they didn't already know these stories and that I didn't already know these stories. And so it just started from there with just me trying to tell stories on my own. And then I slowly over time, I was like, this needs to be bigger than me. This needs to be bigger. More people need to hear these stories. And so that's how it turned into good. But it started off small with just, let me tell my friends, let me tell my Instagram followers.
I love that. I mean, that's how anything starts, just using your own voice. And then it just grows from there. So that's amazing. What is your favorite part about utilizing journalism in such a positive and inspiring light? And do you have a more memorable piece that you've written that you want to share with us?
It's a good question. So one thing that I'm really passionate about is the idea that we should be focusing on real good news, not feel good news. So there's a lot of feel good news out there, which I love, like puppies and rainbows and butterflies, but it's essentially escapism. It's saying, hey, let me get away from the bad. And I think that if a lot of us were to pay a little bit more attention to the bad, then we could all work together to create solutions to those bad things. And so I love the work we do as an on-ramp that makes it feel safe and approachable to look at the heartbreak, pain, and injustice in the world so that we can ultimately celebrate the people who are making a difference and get involved. And as far as a specific story goes, it's so hard. There's just so many. I mean, I think about most recently, like not recently, I guess, but the explosion that happened in Beirut several months ago, and just how devastating and heartbreaking that was. And immediately what we wanted to do, we basically, whenever we see bad news, we walk people through 3 steps. The first step is it's okay to feel the pain of this moment. There's nothing wrong with that. And in fact, we can use that pain as a catalyst for more. So feel that pain, recognize the heartbreak of this scenario, but then we then lean into this beautiful quote from Mr. Rogers, where he said, when I was a boy and I would see scary things in the news, my mother would say to me, look for the helpers. You will always find people who are helping. So that's what we do next. We looked for the helpers, and they were found all over Beirut. And it's so funny because we were like connecting with people on Snapchat to like find their firsthand experience on the ground of the people they were meeting, the people who helped them, the people that they helped. All, local in the community. And then lastly, it's about, okay, now that we found people who are doing good, how can all of us get involved and make a difference? And there's 2 reasons that we want to do that. The first is, of course, that if you have the privilege of experiencing bad news through the news, then maybe you should use that privilege to help people who don't have that privilege. But the second is, if you feel overwhelmed by something, the best way to no longer feel overwhelmed by that bad news is to realize that you have the ability to change that bad news, to make it a little bit better. And so what we did next is we said, here are the 2 organizations to donate to. This one provides short-term relief. This one provides long-term relief, with the goal of just helping people not feel too stuck. Sometimes you're like, oh my gosh, there's 1,000 organizations. Who should I donate to? But if we say, this is the one we trust here, and this is the one we trust here, pick one, donate, as little as $5, and it makes a difference. That whole process allows you to pay a little bit more attention to something that maybe if you're having an overwhelming day, you might have just said, I can't care about this today. But you can actually come away from this not just caring, but having made a difference and feeling more hopeful than you started the day with.
Wow. I mean, thank you so much for helping people find ways to make a difference. I've definitely been there watching the news and feeling so overwhelmed by what was going on. Like, I don't even know where to start. Like, this is too much. I just need to walk away. And, I think we all need that reminder of like different ways, even just little things we can do to help. So that's incredible. As a leader in the physical media space, what advice do you have for Gen Z who are looking to use journalism as a means of advocacy?
Yes. I'll get a little visual aid and just say, for those who don't know, we make a print newspaper filled with good news, which I always say is the best thing I ever did and the dumbest thing. Because, of course, newspapers are not doing as well as they did before. But there is something special and valuable about using a unique medium because it stands out. It gets people's attention a little bit better. And it also, there's also all kinds of benefits to, reading in this context and being able to pass along good news to somebody else. My dog is in the background, like upside down, playing around on the chair.
We love an animal in the background.
So funny. But I think that a newspaper, Pop-Tart, her name is Pop-Tart.
Oh my God.
The beautiful, so newspapers are like a little bit crazy to make. We have to take it to a printing press. We've got designers who like figured out how to make newsprint, like all that stuff. And, if anybody wants to do that, it's such a fun thing. But I would say more than anything, everybody who wants to tell a story, don't feel like you have to be limited by the current tools that you see available to you. There are so many ways to take a story and make it stand out by moving it to a new medium, by having it jump over to somewhere where people aren't expecting it. And sometimes that surprise and delight will actually allow your story to hit a little bit harder. I think about just people who are innovating in the VR or AR space, people who are doing unique things in video that either making it short form or long form in a non-traditional space, people who are using Instagram in unconventional ways, pushing the medium forward. There's so many innovative and creative with whatever medium you're at. And so don't feel limited and know that when we started making like our print newspaper, there were literally no YouTube videos that explained how to do it. There's no user manual. The only people who could teach us how to do it were like 65-year-old men in like small towns in America. And so that's what we had to learn. But the great thing is that allowed us to stand out in this unique way. And now we get to pass along the lessons we've learned to others. And so don't be afraid to do something a little bit weird because it might just help you in the long run.
What a good piece of advice. It's all about standing out and thinking outside of the box. And, in today's day and age, a newspaper is thinking outside of the box and it's different. It's standing out and we love that. So that's incredible. So last question for you. How can journalism help us come together and unify? What do you think we can all do to support good, and positive, uplifting news that truly inspires people to take action and make the world a better place?
Yeah, I mean, I think you might have just said it exactly that. I know that there's a lot of ways that journalism can make a difference in people's lives and can connect us both just through storytelling and empathy and just facts and understanding. All of that help us understand the world better. But I genuinely believe that journalism can, when it inspires action, will allow us to be connected on a deeper level because it inspires us to help somebody else. And no matter what, when you help somebody else, that person will be a little bit different than you, and sometimes a lot different than you. And there's such a connective experience in that mutual support and learning. And so for journalists who are watching, like anytime that you can create something that inspires action, you have succeeded. And who knows the domino effect that that's going to have for good.
Amazing. Thank you so much for all that you do to uplift the world with the good, and sharing these pieces of advice for Gen Z. I know everybody's out there listening is really, loving your advice. So thank you so much for being with us tonight, Branden.
Thank you so much. I'm truly so honored to be here. So honored by this community. All of you are incredible. So thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Bye.
Bye.
Wow. It has been quite a night meeting all these incredible Gen Zers and Branden and Emily, and just feeling so inspired. And if you're feeling inspired too, let's keep the conversation going. Come to our community on Geneva and let's talk more. I want to hear how you felt about tonight's panel. So come to Geneva, we'll see you there, and then tune in tomorrow night for our last list panel all about unification. Good night, everyone.